You could say I was in for a rude awakening when I turned on my PlayStation 4 today. But in all seriousness, I had no idea that DLC 1 for Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was already here. To be perfectly honest, I didn't even buy my season pass yet. But once I found out the news, I jumped on the PlayStation Network, coughed up my $50, and then got on the Awakening playlist. In this mini-series, I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks on these 4 multiplayer maps. I'm going to be recommending some weapons, some perks, and some specialists, and more. I hope you enjoy. So let's talk Splash. This is the map that got so much publicity when this DLC was announced, and at every twist and turn where they talked a little bit more about the DLC, it was all about the Splash. Everybody wanted to know about the Splash. You're going to be shooting people in a water park. It's going to be off the rails. And it's really not that exciting. Yes, it's probably the best map of the entire DLC, unless you're one of the people that like remake maps, which we're going to get into in probably the next episode of this mini-series, but it's just not that special. It's kind of a confusing map at first, and then once you figure it out, it's just going to be boring because I'm a big stealth guy and a big flanking guy, and all I'm going to be doing in this map is just running around the outside, shooting people in the back, running around the outside, shooting people in the back, just running from spawn to spawn to spawn to spawn, and just running around the map. It's a really big map, and it's a lot of work to run all the way to the other end just to have the enemies flip the spawn and spawn on your end again. And then you turn around and run all the way back. And the number one thing that I find that's really great about this map is that it's got all these different networks and stuff, but a lot of the networks are so underused. Like, for example, this house that I'm going into right now, I think I'm the only person that I've ever seen go into this house. I've played this map like 4 or 5 times now. This gameplay that you're watching is actually my very first gameplay on this map, by the way. But I've played this map like 4 or 5 times now. I've never seen anyone go into that house. Everyone always floods to the middle of the map. They use all these networks of pathways just to get into the middle, and then they just camp. And that's the biggest problem with Call of Duty right now, but that's not what we're talking about in this video. We're talking about this map, so let's get back on track. This map, like I said, has a big network of pathways. The closest thing I could resemble the whole kind of overlay of the map would be to, I would compare it to a spider's web. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's like a big network, and all of the lanes of each of these little sections, all these tubes and tunnels and stuff, it all leads to the middle of the map, which is just a death trap. So if you're going to do anything on this map, stay out of the middle because you will die. There's like 6 or 7 different areas that people can camp in, just in the end of tubes and tunnels that look over the middle of the map. So if you stand in the middle of the map, you are instantly dead. So what you're going to want to do is use all the kind of lesser used pathways, all these strange little, like there's little water slides and stuff that will completely escape your know-how. Like when you're running around, there are big water slides. Like there was huge tubes that everybody goes in, like that red tube right above me right now. But there are also smaller tubes, just like tiny little ones that are just off to the side, or you might even run past them the first couple times you play this map and not even notice them at all. And those are the tubes that you want to be in, because those tubes will actually intersect 2 lanes of the map and bring you into a different section of the map entirely, where you can completely flank the other team. And it's just really great for objective-based modes. Once you figure out this map, once you figure out the lanes and all these different networks and stuff, you will easily be able to flank around and kill all the campers. It's just absolutely unreal how well you can flank on this map once you figure out which tunnels you want to take. Now, of course, that means that you're going to want to use a close-range weapon. This is a really twisty-turny kind of map. It's like you can't go 3 steps without going around another corner to get to the next part of the map. What works best with corners in this game? Shotguns. That's why I'm using the KRM-262, and it is probably the best weapon for this entire map, except for the part I'm in right now. This splash pad area is really kind of dangerous to be running around with the shotgun. If you go to Skull Bay, which I just passed there, or the splash pad, which I was just in, you're going to get killed a lot if you're using close-range weapons. Over there, that's where the campers go. That's where the long-range guys want to be. But if you're using a shotgun, like I highly, highly recommend for using on this map, you need to be using all these little networks and tunnels and swimming. If you have not seen my video on how you should never swim in Call of Duty Black Ops 3 because it's so dangerous, it is linked in the description below. Make sure you go check that out so you can ignore every single word that I say in that video when it comes to this map. Swimming in this map is like your best friend. Usually swimming always works out for the worst in this game. You always die when you're swimming. You have an exposed head, you're exposed to the water above you, or to the land above you, I suppose. It's just a very exposed position to be swimming in this game. It's very hard to control your character. You kind of like drift all around when you're moving. And then when you get on this map, you're going to find that there is a very nice clear waterway across the map that literally goes from one spawn all the way into the middle of the map. It's absolutely unreal. It is like the best watering hole I've seen in this entire game, and I would highly advise that you take the swimming routes on this map. As you can see here, there's a tunnel that leads all the way to the middle. There's a tunnel that goes from the middle to the other side of the middle, meaning you can flank enemies that are coming around there guarding the safeguard robot or whatever, or people that are taking B-Dom. I believe B-Dom is on that kind of splash patty area right in the middle. And it's just a really great waterway. You're always going to want to be in the water on this map, and it's just a really great flanking tactic. Now remember that going in the water will make you very audible when you jump out. You'll make splashing noises and stuff, which is kind of a big deal on this map because a lot of the map is water, even if you can't swim in it. There's parts of the water that you can swim in, parts that you can't, that you just run over, and either of which will make your feet very wet, so be aware that people will be able to hear you quite well when you're running around on this map. If you want to stay stealthy, stay completely out of the water, don't even touch the water, which means you're going to be cutting off like 3 or 4 lanes of this map. You're going to have to stick to the middle section, which I'm running down right now like an idiot for some reason, or the Pirates Bay on the other side there, the Skull Bay, or which I'm in right now. So these are like the only 2 areas of the map that have pure land and there's no water. Pretty much every other section has a large chunk of water in it. That's going to make you very audible to people using awareness and people that don't use awareness but use high-end headsets. So just be aware of that you are going to be easily heard on this map. Even though this map has all these different laneways and stuff, stealth probably isn't the way to go. Just because of all the water, it's going to be hard to get in and out of areas because you don't want to touch those areas and stuff. I would advise that you use a shotgun. The shotgun is just absolutely just tears through the enemy team on this map. As long as you stay away from the areas that I mentioned, the Skull Bay and the splash pad, you are basically good to go with a shotgun on this map. Now, this map is, like I said, it's an alright map. I like how colorful it is. I like how it does have this network of lanes instead of just being a standard 3-lane map. It has a bunch of networking kind of little things that lead into the 3 lanes, which are right in the middle of the map. So it's kind of a neat map. There's lots of intersections and stuff, and once you finally figure out what all these intersections go to, you're going to have a much easier time on this map. So I hope you have a fun time playing on Splash. It's probably the best map of the DLC. I kind of like Gauntlet as well, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit on another video. But first, we're going to get into Hijacked, or Skyjacked, I guess it's called, in the DLC here, which is the remake of Hijacked from Black Ops 2. And that one is a little bit different from what you'd expect. It's a little bit larger, and there's a little bit of a difference between a couple of things from that to the older game, and we're going to be talking about that in my next video. So make sure you're staying tuned, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something useful about the Splash map. Hopefully you're using shotguns on this map because they're just absolutely OP, and I'll see you guys out there in the Awakening DLC.